The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Kethvar's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among the Zephyrians. The towering insectoid being gestured dismissively at the human delegation with one of his 4 chitinous arms. "These softskins wish to join our elite hazard response corps?" Kethvar's voice buzzed with derision. "Look at them, honored counselors. No natural armor, no redundant organs, no acid-resistant carapace. Their bones break like dried twigs. Their skin tears at the slightest touch." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled representatives. The massive stone-skinned Gorlaks nodded their boulder-like heads, while the crystalline Veltar chimed their concurrence in harmonic frequencies that made the humans' teeth ache. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's lead representative, remained perfectly still despite the insults. Her dark eyes surveyed the alien council with the patience of someone who had spent years studying xenobiology. Beside her, Colonel Marcus Torres stood at attention, his weathered face betraying nothing. "The humans," continued Kethvar, warming to his subject, "cannot breathe methane like the Gorlaks, cannot survive in vacuum like the Veltar, cannot regenerate lost limbs like my own people. What could such fragile creatures possibly offer to hazard response operations in the galaxy's most dangerous environments?" Counselor Thoxmit of the Veltar resonated his agreement. "The death worlds we monitor would dissolve their flesh in moments. The toxic atmospheres, the crushing gravities, the radiation storms impossible for such delicate biology." Dr. Chen finally spoke, her voice calm and measured. "We appreciate the Council's concerns about human physiology. However, we would like to propose a trial period. Give us one standard mission, any mission the Corps deems suitable, and judge us by our results." The Council erupted in what could charitably be called laughter across multiple species. Kethvar's mandibles clattered so hard they sparked against each other. "Very well," he wheezed. "There is one assignment that even veteran Corps members refuse. The mining station on Infernus 7 went dark 3 cycles ago. The planet's surface temperature averages 200 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere is 40% sulfur compounds, and the gravity is 3 times standard. The automated distress beacon indicates environmental suit failures and possible survivors in the deep mining shafts, but the toxic gases have made rescue impossible." He leaned forward, compound eyes glittering. "Even our most robust species cannot survive exposure to that environment for more than minutes. But perhaps the humans would like to volunteer for this educational experience?" Dr. Chen exchanged a glance with Colonel Torres, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. "We accept," she said simply. 48 hours later, the human rescue ship Resilience entered orbit around Infernus 7. The planet hung in space like a festering wound, its surface wreathed in sulfurous clouds that glowed with their own malevolent light. The Galactic Council had positioned observation vessels at what they deemed a safe distance, expecting to document humanity's swift and inevitable failure. Kethvar himself commanded the flagship, ready to collect whatever remained of the human expedition for what he assumed would be a very brief autopsy report. The Resilience deployed its landing craft without fanfare. No grand speeches, no ceremonial preparations, just 12 humans in modified environmental suits descending into hell itself. What the observers couldn't see was the culmination of humanity's greatest strength, adaptation through cooperation and ingenuity. The suits weren't just protective gear. They were marvels of engineering that showcased everything the galaxy had underestimated about human innovation. Dr. Chen had worked for months with Earth's finest engineers to design suits that didn't fight Infernus 7's environment, but worked with it. The outer layer was a biomimetic membrane that actually fed on sulfur compounds, converting the toxic atmosphere into breathable oxygen through modified Earth bacteria. The suit's cooling systems used the planet's extreme temperature differential to generate power, making the hostile environment a source of strength rather than destruction. But the real secret wasn't in the technology. It was in the humans wearing it. Where other species saw obstacles, humans saw puzzles to solve. Where aliens required perfect conditions to survive, humans thrived on making the impossible merely improbable. They had evolved not to be the strongest or fastest, but to be the most adaptable, the most stubborn, the most willing to walk into hell itself if someone needed help. The rescue took 18 hours. 18 hours of humans working in an environment that should have killed them in minutes, navigating collapsed mine shafts by feel, breathing poison through sheer technological audacity, carrying survivors through toxic mazes while their suits literally fed on the atmosphere trying to kill them. When the Resilience finally lifted off with all 43 miners safe aboard, the silence in the Galactic Council's observation fleet was profound. Kethvar stared at his instruments, mandibles slack with disbelief. The humans hadn't just survived, they had completed the mission with 0 casualties and had even managed to repair the mining station's primary life support systems before leaving. Dr. Chen's voice crackled across the communication array, professional and unassuming. Mission accomplished. Council. The miners are safe and the station is operational. We're ready for our next assignment. As the human ship disappeared into hyperspace, Kethvar finally understood what he had witnessed. Humanity's fragility wasn't a weakness. It was the forge that had shaped their greatest strength. When you could break, you learned to bend. When you could die, you learned to live with impossible precision. When the universe itself seemed designed to kill you, you became very, very good at surviving it anyway. The Hazard Response Corps had found its new elite unit, and the galaxy would never look at humanity's fragile bodies the same way again.